It seems nothing is as depressing as a Gen Alpha childhood.
Why the fuck are kids not acting like kids anymore? I'm gonna try and say this in like
the least creepy way possible.
But some of these kids nowadays look like they're 13
going on fucking 30.
I was at the mall the other day and I saw this like 10-year-old girl dressed head to toe in Lululemon, a full face of makeup, holding a brand new iPhone and had a designer bag on her arm. Like, dude.
What the actual fuck?
What has happened to having a childhood? Like, bro, at 10 years old, I was rocking some fucking Skechers and I was wearing some shitty-ass Goodwill clothes. And I'm pretty sure that nowadays, kids just
don't touch fucking grass.
I mean, the online world has fully replaced hanging out in real life, and it's honestly a little depressing to see. Like, dude, go and ride your bike. Go and form a boy band.
Go and rob a fucking bank for all I care.
I mean, seriously, do something. Another thing, I'm not even sure that kids have awkward stages anymore. Like, bro, my awkward stage lasted me, like, I don't know, 4 fucking years, but it was essential to figuring out who I was. And in my 20 years of life, I have never seen a generation of kids that are like so obsessed with politics. Kids nowadays are growing up way too fast. I mean, we're talking mentally and physically. And do kids even watch cartoons anymore? The other day, I asked my 9-year-old cousin what his favorite cartoon was, and he's like, cartoon? Did you mean YouTube? And I was like,
no, you loaf of fucking bread.
I meant cartoon. And he's like, oh, I don't watch cartoons.
What?
Bro, when I was 9 years old, I was watching iCarly, Scooby-Doo, Paw Patrol, The Amazing World of Gumball, Regular Show. I mean, you name it, I was watching that shit.
It's like the life has been sucked out of these kids. Everywhere you go, it seems like kids have leapfrogged over that awkward period of childhood and they're just pretending they're adults. All the brain-rotted Gen Alpha iPad kids fall into one of 2 camps. The first is the ones who will spontaneously combust if they don't have their iPad.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell, Beyonce? Go to the Apple store.
Christmas memories.
Every time I see those videos, I'm like, what are we doing with these kids? The second is the kids trying to cosplay that they're adults. When I was a kid, kids would be into dinosaurs and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Fairly Odd Parents and cartoons and sharks on their shirts. But now there's a combination of kids not being interested in those things, but more often it's their millennial parents who are more interested in getting an Instagram aesthetic in dressing their kids or making their room than actually what the kid wants for their decoration. These millennial parents' houses look like a psychiatrist's office or the antechamber to purgatory. And they keep that Kafka-esque corporate aesthetic into their kids' rooms and their kids' backpacks and their kids' clothes. It's gotten so bad that at department stores, they're carrying fewer t-shirts for kids with like bugs and superheroes and princesses because the kids or their parents are just shopping for them like they're small teenagers. At this point, some mothers aren't decorating their kids' rooms for their kids. They're decorating it because it's what they want to see. These parents are sacrificing having a fun environment for their kids with a bunch of colors, which are key to a child's development, by the way, because they don't like their kids' aesthetic. They don't like their 5-year-old's t-shirt aesthetic. This mom is making sure her kids' clothes are beige, and this mom is spray painting her kid's basketball hoop so it doesn't have any color. POV, you design the perfect new big boy room and your husband surprises you and your toddler with this. And then she shows the Paw Patrol bed sheets as if it's like Playboy magazine. How can you get angry? Of course your kid wants Paw Patrol. This, by the way, does not look like the bedroom of a 6-year-old boy. This looks like the room that Will from Stranger Things would be zooming in from on lockdown. Also, you know what else is missing from this toddler's bedroom? A bed. Take a look at how bad this is. The 7-year-old boy asks his mom for a baseball-themed room, and he gets the most minimalist Frank Lloyd Wright-inspired office break room baseball aesthetic. There's like a blueprint of a baseball field on the wall, everything is white, and there's like a book about baseball that's brown, also for the aesthetic. How is this a 7-year-old's baseball room? You could have told me the theme of this room was Jimmy Carter, and I would have made just as much sense.
I'm only sleeping on Jimmy Carter.
So you got your Jimmy Jammies.
Yeah.
You got your Jimmy Carter blanket.
Yeah.
And you got your
Jimmy Carter pillow.
What happened to kids wanting their bedrooms to look like this or this, like we saw on Nick and Disney shows? The answer is the flip side to the Generation Zoomers, because we grew up with Nick and Disney shows, as I've discussed before. Gen Z is the only generation in all of human history to have kids shows. I've talked about this at length, but in short, the only era of there being TV programming specifically for older kids who weren't teenagers and weren't little kids like on Sesame Street was from 2000 to 2020. So we grew up with really zany, quirky, goofy, bright, kid-friendly, colorful characters like Spencer from iCarly or Sikowitz from Victorious or Hannah Montana. And so being a kid, you saw all these people you looked up to, all these people you watched every week, be goofy, and that's how you wanted to be. To have all these colorful rooms and to be into things. Now we don't have any of those colorful TV shows, and kids are growing up with influencers like Olivia Jade or Madison Beer or James Charles or Bryce Hall, and more than any other profession, kids want to be YouTubers and streamers. So their idea of who's cool, who they're watching all the time, are these lifestyle influencers who wear a lot of makeup or are really wealthy or do obnoxious pranks, whatever it is. So it makes sense kids don't want to wear graphic tees anymore, and instead they want to look like everyone they watch online, who are these adult figures doing more adult things. I used to always wear those shirts, you know, that said like, don't bug me, you know? And now kids are dressing like they're in a Brooks Brothers commercial.
So I ordered a bikini from this brand.
Why are we ordering bikinis for literal babies? But most kids will still want like a colorful princess, superhero, backpacker t-shirt. And some of these parents get mad. They get mad that their 4-year-old son's like Spider-Man and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles over looking like they're in an Old Navy Geico commercial. Do you really want your kid dressing like he's 15 when he's 5 anyway?
How dare I dress my child in boring beige mum aesthetic. Target is on point this season with the boring beige mum aesthetic.
Whatever happened to a SpongeBob onesie? Okay, maybe I was too old for that one. My baby's first birthday party was my beige mom dream. Right. Notice the word choice. She wanted to make her child's birthday beige because that was her dream. Having a beige 1-year-old birthday party is your dream for some reason. Maybe get a new dream, you know? Maybe get Martin Luther King's dream. Something, any other dream, honestly, would be better. But what about having a kid-themed birthday party for your kid? Excuse me, I'm a silly guy, but that's what I remember happening at a
Kid's birthday party.
If you held a gun to my head and asked me how old the person whose birthday party was turning here, no chance I would have guessed anyone under 35. And what you have going for you is probably not making any memories right now, but if that kid turns 4 and it's like Stanley Cup themed, I think he's gonna have some questions, okay? What about having some colors and life and Paw Patrol characters for your 3-year-old? And since when are we shopping for 6-year-olds backpacks like they're a 2023 Visco girl?
POV, you own a luxury backpack brand, and this is what my toddler chooses to wear instead of my plain old boring backpack. How dare she? What, you don't want your 5-year-old daughter to wear a backpack that says it's cool to be kind on it? That's weird.
This is the one you want?
Yeah.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
The extent that parents are getting mad at their kid for not wanting a boring adult backpack over a colorful cartoon backpack, I will never understand. Your kid wants a colorful backpack. Your kid doesn't want a backpack that looks like it was designed by Franz Kafka. And why are you mad at this? Like getting an adult's like Gap-themed backpack is like $70 when you can get like a $5 backpack with a bunch of characters that your kid will love so much more. Your kid isn't worried about how cool he is with his like beige backpack, or at least he shouldn't be. At least the Zoomers weren't. And that's why I'm worried about the Gen Alpha childhood. Look, this little girl is crying and trying to bring color to her bed because she didn't like her mom just putting this aesthetic Instagram modernist bedroom. She's 3 years old. She wants Hello Kitty.
So, Story, why did you make your bed like this? Because why?
I want the colors.
You wanted lots of colors?
Yeah.
Wow. That looks really, really good.
And this mom posted that the one room in her house that is bright with rainbow colors is the one that goes against all of her beliefs. Like, I guess her belief is living at Target because her kid obviously loves colors, and she can't handle her kid actually having colors because it upsets her aesthetic. Or maybe she's just homophobic. I guess maybe. Yeah, boy, maybe. This mom tried to defend her decision of making her kid's bedroom look like it's straight out of the Depression, writing, "When someone says you can't be a minimalist and have children." Okay, first of all, no one has ever said this in ever. I've never been walking down the street and heard someone say, "God, I really want to be a minimalist, but I have children." Or, "I really want to have children, but I'm a minimalist." But that ends today, because I'll say it right now. The right time for minimalism is when you have a $30 net worth and you're eating ramen noodles at your University of Kansas Wichita dormitory, okay? You know, it's not when you're giving birth, all right?
Hey, we shouldn't have the epidural. I'm a minimalist, okay?
And it's not even minimalist. Like, her baby's room has a Saturdays are for the boys poster with a bunch of football position sketches. Are you kidding me? This kid is 4 days old. This kid is 4 days old. He missed everything. Like, bro missed 6'7", bro missed the Biden administration, bro missed everything. And you're already putting a football is for the boys poster. That means nothing to him. He's probably regretting that he was born at all, okay? Season 1 of Heated Rivalry is older than bro. At this point, why not just put up a poster of like Boogie Nights and Miller Lite, beer with the guys in his room? Like, what are you doing? Send in a stripper at this point. Like, why are you doing this? Again, this is not minimalism. You want minimalism? It's me at my University of Kansas Wichita dormitory where it looks like I'm living in a prison cell, as I've been told. But that's okay, because it's not my son's first birthday party. It's not my 4-year-old bedroom where I'm putting up drinking with the guys. You guys, it's gotten so bad that there are already TikToks of people regretting being everything I just said. There's already the moms regretting being so beige and minimalist for their 1-year-old's birthday party and not letting them like Disney movies and princesses and superheroes. They're already regretting that. It's been like a day. Like,
This will be everlasting love. This will be.
they'll have the rest of their life to be sellouts and corporatists. Like, you don't need to take all the life out of their life when they're 2. This mom really said normalize toddlers' rooms being basic. No. If you can't afford it, it's one thing, but don't pretend like what your kid really wants is not really colorful backpacks or toys that can be $5 like a Slinky. Don't pretend that it's really in the kid's best interest to like give them some iPads, give them a beer with the guys poster, and then that's like all the parenting you need to do. When really this is a veneer so you can get your millennial TikTok aesthetic into your son's bedroom. And rather than playing in the real world, as these kids just have screens become their entire reality and they're not parented by their parents and they don't have any toys or color in their life to distract them, they're relying on AI more every day. But what's so bad is these kids are still in their formative years, and when AI is their instructor, they're not actually going to learn human communication. Why? Well, because think about this. AI is the mean, right? All AI does is it takes like 100 human creations and makes it into a mean, but oftentimes it'll just hallucinate things that don't exist. So when you're trying to teach kids words, you're trying to teach them English and enunciation, and you just hallucinate a bunch of words, you'll start having your kids say things that aren't words. You know, when a lot of kids started watching Bluey, they started speaking with an Australian accent and saying Australian words.
What's the opposite of yes?
No.
You said where does what go?
Rubbish.
The rubbish?
Yeah.
What's rubbish?
Well, when these kids are learning English from Grok, they're probably gonna blame the Jews, but when these kids are learning English from AI, and AI hallucinates words, these kids are gonna start using those hallucinated words.
Mobile.
That's not how you pronounce that! That's not real! I want you to think of all the possible ways to pronounce this word. Think of all the possible ways that Miss Rachel would pronounce this word right here. You ready for it? I don't think you are.
Meek.
Millions of views of faceless AI channels making our kids stupider every single moment of the day.
This is so scary, and no wonder these teachers are posting videos of their tests where the students don't even try to answer any of the questions. They just put a big question mark. Because every time they have a question in their life that they don't understand the instructions, well, they'll just ask ChatGPT and he'll figure it out for them. The audacity of kids not even just trying to answer, they just put a question mark. They're built different, okay? These kids got a 3 out of 60. And what's worse is the Gen Alpha comments go, girl, I'm reading those questions and honestly, I wouldn't answer neither. It's just not important enough to care. What are we doing? And the questions are not hard, you know? The questions are like, who would be better at air traffic control? I Show Speed or Helen Keller? Like, the kids, they don't know anymore. By the way, I can't believe that. Helen Keller's false. You hear that? I didn't look into it. But everyone's saying Helen Keller's false now? I mean, come on, we all knew that. There's a Helen Keller quote that's like, it's not what's outside of me that matters. It's not what I can see that matters. It's what's truly inside my heart that matters. And I was just seeing that quote like, well, yeah. Well, of course. What else? It's like grade A copium, you know? That's like FDR saying walking is overrated. And everything I'm saying in this video, we all know.
Elementary schoolers are doing Christmas hauls, and it's like 15 different colors of Lululemon sweatshirts, or like drunk elephant products, which I didn't even know what that was until an 11-year-old talked about it. Remember when I was younger, I wanted like toy helicopters that I could fly around my yard. I didn't want to moisturize. I feel like this whole new era of kids that have access to like social media, it just makes them stop being children. Tweens used to look like tweens, and now I'm walking around, and these children are like dressed better than I am because they see it on TikTok, and all these kids just want to dress like the 20-year-old influencers that they see on their For You page. They want to behave and speak and watch the same shows and listen to the same music as all these influencers who are so much older than them. Then they sort of stop acting like kids. Now, as a result, nobody's getting Legos. Legos are fun, guys.
Even the people who tried to deny that Gen Alpha is going through this and their childhood is the most depressing thing you've seen since Emoji Movie 2, we all know fundamentally, because we can all watch a video like this and know this is what every iPad kid looks and sounds like. Even the parents who give their kids iPads, they know all of this, which is why they get so angry and make all these parody videos attacking parents who commit the unforgivable sin of not giving iPads to their kids, not even judging other parents, not saying what anyone else should do like I am. Like, I'm pretentious enough to say don't give your kids iPads when they're 3 seconds old. But these parents are just saying, we don't give our kids iPads. And the number of TikToks just attacking them as the worst person since Colleen Ballinger. No, Colleen.
How the hell you spell chauffeur? Chauffeur. Ooh, fancy pants, Rich McGee over here.
And then for girls, it's particularly bad because so many of them have grown up watching lifestyle YouTubers and TikTokers who do get ready with me videos, are always doing their makeup, which can be okay if you're a teenager, but when you're 8, you shouldn't be worried about Sephora or having your favorite store be Victoria's Secret.
Does anyone else notice that the younger generations, especially younger little girls, just don't seem to have any sort of childhood anymore? I was born in 2003, and I honestly feel like we might have been the last sort of generation of kids to have a true childhood, and it makes me so upset to think about. I've kind of been thinking about this for a while, but today it just really stood out to me when I went to this place by my house called The Grove. I went to go get my medicine ball from Starbucks because I'm just so sick and not feeling well, and the amount of little girls online to get their Starbucks coffees, they're all head to toe dressed in either Lululemon or White Fox, talking about what they're gonna go get at Sephora, and I'm like, what is going on? I feel like this was such a big topic of conversation a couple years ago during the whole Sephora kid trend, but since then I feel like it's not really talked about, and it has gotten so progressively worse. These kids are dressing older, acting older, trying to like show off their bodies when they're literally 10 years old, pre-pubescent. Like, kids, they're so entitled because half of them walk around with their parents' credit cards. I don't know about y'all, but like when I was a kid, if I got handed maybe $20 to go walk around the downtown area when I was a kid, that was like the fucking best thing ever. Kids are walking around spending hundreds of dollars on their parents' credit cards, buying stuff to make them look and seem older, and it's just insane. Especially 90s and 2000 kids, like, we're so nostalgic and we think about our childhoods and the nostalgia of it all, and we miss it because we miss a time when phones weren't a thing and the internet wasn't a thing and social media wasn't a thing, and we could just be kids, like play outside, do whatever, play games, just be little kids. And I feel like these future generations now, when they think about their childhood, there is no kind of big defining line between not having the internet and all of that being a huge part of it, because it's been a part of their lives since they were born.
Something has gone wrong here. They should not be makeup guru experts on TikTok at 7. They should be playing with like Wubble Bubble Ball.
It looks like a bubble, plays like a ball.
Or rewatching Tangled.
We're Gen Alpha influencers. Of course we are obsessed with skincare. We're Gen Alpha influencers. Of course my favorite stores are Sephora and Ulta. We're Gen Alpha influencers. Of course we wear a headband when we're doing our get ready with me's. We're Gen Alpha influencers. Of course we don't have toys.
That video is scary. Bro, these kids can't even say the word influencer, and now they are them. How are all these kids so into makeup stores? It's something they shouldn't have to worry about or think about until they're older. Like, you can think about that stuff for the rest of your life. You know, childhood is a specific moment in time. For all the harmful effects of watching Disney and Nick shows, one upside is at least you were focused on being a kid and not trying to fit yourself into a Procrustean adulthood that you weren't ready for. You could worry about school and pranks and becoming a pop star. Being Gen Z really does feel like getting the last chopper out of Vietnam, because we had the PE parachute, we had Rainbow Loom, we had Silly Bands, we had the original Despicable Me movies, but we also had like Megamind, we had culture, we had things in the world. You know the Gen Zers had it good because the Gen Alphites cosplay like they had a Gen Z childhood even when they totally didn't.
Come on, I must have been sorry. It's time to go.
No, I'm a star! Please, I'm a star!
all agree that Gen Z is from 1997 to 2012. And for anyone who's like, I'm Gen Alpha, but I had a Gen Z childhood. No, you didn't.
They've seen the edits. They know the childhood they could have had if it wasn't traded in for iPads and brain rot.
Just touch me, you'll be fine. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version. It's starting to look really weird. Oh yeah, your face is out of place, and I can't make you out. It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
Like, you just can't replicate it. Does any other Zoomer remember that someday in like 2nd grade, a girl would come up to you in class and be like, pick a number. She's got this advanced paper fortune cookie and you pick a number and she does like this weird magic and she's like, flips it and it's like, now pick another number. And then finally she finishes her black magic and she goes, I predict your mom's gonna be killed by Obama next week or something. But it was such a unique experience. You guys remember that? Remember those texts you used to get as a Zoomer in like 2013 from like some guy you met in 3rd grade who was like,
You must forward this text to 100 people. Your cat will get AIDS and molest you while you're sleeping.
or something, you know? Like, remember those texts? Those texts were freaky. I remember old school YouTube, okay? My friend and I used to watch those videos that promised to hypnotize you. Did anybody else do that? I'm so old. I remember when there would be a new Vsauce YouTube video, okay? I remember when they were coming out. What's so sad is we're past the point that kids are zombified, parents are enabling it, and teachers are quitting. We're past that point, okay? That time seems quaint. We're at the point where Gen Alpha, in their paradoxical childishness, where they stay like a toddler for many years and they'll scream if they don't have their iPad, or they're coughing on their iPad and spilling cheese dust on their iPad, while simultaneously wanting to grow up so much and be 25 when they're 5 years old. This has all been institutionalized now. Look at how restaurants are now refusing to give kids coloring and instead offering them tablet holders. This is it. This is the end. This is my last video and last moment on this earth. We're not worth fighting for. Kids are going to Walmart to play on their display computers because they can't afford their favorite game. I'm just imagining your buddies are like, hey man, hop on. And you're like, all right, bro, let me get to Walmart. Chuck E. Cheese, the Zoomers all remember, it's like a ghost town now. I used to run that place.
What I thought Chuck E. Cheese would look like taking my kids there. VS what it looks like now.
You guys, childhood is so anachronistic in our time that Chuck E. Cheese abandoned kids and started opening Chuck E. Cheese places for adults. What? I'm losing my sanity with these videos. If they made Nick and Disney shows today, you'd have to have like Charlie from Good Luck Charlie on like an iPad and Liv and Maddie and Henry Danger and Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn all playing like Roblox or something. Or the kids wouldn't be on iPads and the shows would be so much less like real life because you'd be looking at all these kids who are actually living in the real world, interacting with each other and not on their iPads. Think about how every Nick and Disney show, Hannah Montana, iCarly, they'd get into some huge problem, and even if like they were doing crazy things, they were doing things all the time. And already there was such a discrepancy between so many people who felt like they were missing out, who felt like their lives weren't as interesting as these lives they saw on Nick and Disney. But now it's so much worse because we're scrolling all the time, and at least Gen Zers had a standard that they couldn't live up to. They had the standard of living an interesting life like on iCarly or Drake and Josh that they felt that their life didn't measure up to. But the Gen Alpha kids, it's worse almost because they have no standard. Everyone around them is scrolling. They think scrolling is normal. They want to become professional scroll content creators, and they think that is all like there is to a childhood. They almost have thrown away any kind of higher standard, higher ideal that, you know, say what you will about Ant Farm, but it gave that to the Zoomers. Does that make sense? Like, Gen Alpha kids, like, they think there's nothing wrong, you know? And the only Alpha kids who know things wrong are people who are watching these videos, which I commend. But the younger iPad kids, they just think this is the peak. This is what human experience is and all it ever can be, and there's nothing wrong with that. What's even more revolting and just scary is how over-sexualized the generation is.
And honestly, I don't even feel comfortable saying it on the internet, what types of disgusting sexual things these kids say at 11 years old. Really? You didn't know that 11-year-olds are now over-schmexualized more than any other generation? They are. Okay, I've been offended and grossed out by children more in the last 2 years than the previous 15 years combined.
You just look at these videos of how many kids are familiar with the Pornhub sound. when they're in 3rd grade. It's actually really bad stuff. And even just the ways that we sort of write off as just, oh, cute alphite brain rot. Like talking about a guillot when you're 6. I remember I first like heard the concept of like big butts, I cannot lie, or that song when I was a kid, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, what is going on here? And now it's just part of every 7-year-old's vocabulary, and they'll look at you weird if you don't know what they're talking about.
What is a freaking guillot? Stop recording and just tell me what a guillot is.
And it's so hard to defend these parents when they're inventing new ways to melt their kids' minds. New ways every day. A plastic bag with a phone screen. There's something called a window, okay? It's like an iPad, but it's real. It's got the same shape as an iPad, but it's all real. Try it, kids. Or this mom who, nice enough to get her kids swings in the backyard, but made sure that the kids' swings didn't have any colors because it would ruin her aesthetic. You're worried about the colors of your kid's swing set ruining your aesthetic? Bro, I can't anymore. This woman is like really imagining someone's gonna come over to her house and be like,
Well, Berta, you've got a beautiful terrace and pergola, but your kid's swing set is really messing up and cramping my style.
Like, oh my gosh. And of course, this all started a little with Gen Z. Everyone's dragging these kids on TikTok for doing TikTok dances in the airport security line, but we were doing those back in the Musical.ly days. I'd be filming on set and I'd run and do some like quick lip syncs to a sped up version of a Bruno Mars song from 2007. We've all been there. But what's different is these outfits don't fundamentally want to like do the fun kid stuff, play with toys. They want to be lifestyle influencers and YouTubers and streamers, and also so many streamers are political, from Clavicular to Asan Piker to Destiny. All these kids are thinking about all these big and depressing, or at least adult-themed political and sexual themes from such a young age. Like when I was a kid, we talked about politics with my fellow youth once like every 4 years, and be the elementary school election. You guys remember that? Like the 2012 election where everyone in your school cast a ballot for Obama or Mitt Romney. It was simpler times. Teachers can also tell exactly who the iPad kids are and who they aren't. And you're like, wow, these teachers really get it. But so can you and I. We can see the light in the kid's eyes when he's curious and interested in the world, and he's not cynical at age 7. And the kids where that light has.
I know exactly which students in my classroom have an iPad at home and which ones don't.
Mom, look at this A and B.
Love it.
67.
Yeah, boy. 6, 7.
And look, a lot of the parents and grandparents giving the kids screens all the time to distract them from the real world, they don't know any better. They didn't grow up with these screens, so they don't know the negative effects of it. Like the grandmothers who enable their kids to become this.
Why you ask me about my freaking screen time? My grandma lets me be on it all day and freaking all night. When I grow up, I'm probably gonna be a CIA agent who's also a YouTuber who reacts to cringe videos.
The same way the battered wives and the kids who grew up with alcoholic fathers championed banning alcohol in the early 20th century. It's us who know what these screens are like to us and to the kids below us that are so concerned because we know what it does. We've never had a generation that's grown up on Roblox. Everyone's always like,
oh, the world has changed before.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, we did go from like kids reading the Bible to kids reading Dr. Seuss, okay? But now we've gone from Schoolhouse Rock to brain rot. For Gen Z growing up, TV shows and movies would be your main form of entertainment. And then you'd also have memes that would catch on, Vines, maybe even from Musical.ly. But now the main form is short form content. And on like a special occasion, you'll watch movies. For Gen Alpha, watching a movie is almost like what Gen Z going to see a play was. It's not as much of like a default thing anymore. It's like a whole special thing you gotta go do. And I certainly would not want to erase any of my memories, or even any of the movies I watched, even Alvin and the Chipmunks the Squeakquel, for scrolling. The closest I ever got to brain rot doom scrolling as a kid was iFunny, okay? And those were still pictures, okay, kids? I'm so old that my brain rot was still images. By the way, apparently YouTube Captions thinks I'm talking about some mysterious woman in these videos named Gen Alpha. Which childhood would you prefer, Gen Z or Gen Alpha? Comment below. Thanks to our patrons for making this possible. You guys are incredible. Your guys' thoughts are how I think through these videos, and your support is how I keep making them. I'm excited to unpack more of how there's no childhood left for Gen Alphas over on Patreon. Thanks for watching.